In the 16th century, the Vijayanagara Empire was a physical manifestation of absolute wealth, its skyline dominated by grand, golden-domed palaces. When a society reaches this level of opulence, a strange psychological bias takes hold. People begin to instinctively equate extreme luxury with superior performance. The assumption is simple: the more resources you add to a problem, the better the result must be. That bias is exactly what a visiting merchant relied on when he arrived at the royal court. Dripping in new money, his fingers were weighed down by oversized rings as he stood before the throne. He brought with him a horse he claimed was the fastest on earth. His pitch relied entirely on excess, draped in heavy velvet, adorned with gold bells, and fed expensive sweets. Powerful leaders are consistently vulnerable to this logic. They assume that if you shower a subject with enough money, food, and comfort, you will automatically manufacture excellence. King Krishnadevaraya, draped in majestic purple silk and heavy gold jewelry, was mesmerized by the opulent presentation. He purchased the animal for a fortune without a second thought. But the investment failed immediately. On the track, this expensive, sweet-fed animal turned out to be heavy, slow, and disinterested in exerting energy. The king was furious. He had poured limitless resources into this asset, and he couldn't comprehend why all that money and comfort failed to produce elite speed. As the court panicked, an advisor named Tenali Rama stepped forward. Wearing a simple white dhoti and a U-shaped tilak on his forehead, his minimalist appearance stood in stark contrast to the room's chaotic wealth. Tenali recognized the analytical flaw immediately. Pampering does not create drive, it breeds complacency. He promised the king that he could fix the animal using a highly unconventional, secret training technique. Tenali bypassed the royal training grounds entirely. He took the horse to a quiet, dimly lit stable in the dead of night, replacing the flashy illusion of the court with a harsh, quiet reality. He began by physically stripping away the luxury. He removed the heavy velvet covers, untied the silk tassels, and threw away the gold bells. Next, he completely eliminated the sweet diet. For the foreseeable future, the animal would receive nothing but basic water and absolute isolation. This chart tracks the relationship between rewards and results. While performance initially climbs as incentives increase, there is a clear threshold where adding resources causes output to level off. The more sweets the merchant added, the more he saw a declining yield in speed. The stable became a laboratory for a highly counterintuitive idea. True performance optimization doesn't come from piling on incentives. It requires ruthlessly subtracting comforts. For one grueling week, the stable doors remained shut, keeping the animal locked inside a dark, isolated environment. The physical transformation was drastic. The dull, lazy posture vanished. Stripped to a simple leather bridle, the horse's ribs were now slightly visible from hunger, but the muscles beneath its coat were lean, tense, and primed for action. Inside the quiet of the stable, the horse's behavior begins to change. It no longer stands head down in a sugar-induced stupor. Instead, its ears prick at every sound outside the door, and its eyes track the smallest movement in the room. Tenali was clearing the horse's expectation of a handout. By removing the distractions of the court and the luxury of the sweets, he was forcing the animal to rely on its basic instincts to find its next meal. This deliberate deprivation served a mechanical purpose. Tenali was creating a vacuum of necessity, a massive deficit so large that the animal would eventually exert any amount of energy to fill it. By withholding food, Tenali ensured that every fiber of the animal's being was now directed toward a single, missing resource. He had successfully turned a biological deficit into a sharp, singular motivation. On the final day, the dark isolation of the stable gave way to a sun-drenched, massive racing stadium packed with thousands of anticipating spectators. At the starting gate stood the raw, unadorned horse. Hyper-focused, it lacked every single golden decoration it had arrived with. Hundreds of yards away at the distant finish line, Tenali Rama stood perfectly still, holding up a single, vibrant bundle of fresh green grass. The gates flew open. Driven by the need to resolve a week-long deficit, the starving animal rocketed across the dirt track with explosive speed. In seconds, it shattered the kingdom's all-time racing records, unleashing a level of physical power that left the crowd stunned. On the left, excess is a circle where energy scatters outward. On the right, deficit is a funnel driving energy straight down into a single point. Necessity forces an organism into an unbreakable focus, eliminating distractions to solve the immediate problem. Up in the royal box, the merchant's fake smile completely crumbled as his expensive scam was laid bare before the king. Tenali Rama proved his point. Record-breaking drive and true greatness are not manufactured by lavish pampering. They are forged by hunger, necessity, and the raw need to survive.